well. You know why? Because there are some people that they are more loyal to Nigeria. They are patriotic more patriotic to Nigeria and really loyal to Nigeria. These people, we don't even consider them. We just take their loyalty or their love for Nigeria for granted. Now, let me give one example. Let me give some examples. We all know Ashley Plumtree. Yes, she looks almost like a Caucasian. If you see her on the road, if you see her on your way going anywhere, you just assume that she's not even related to Black or Nigerians in any shape or form. But her grandfather was actually Nigerian, a prominent Yoruba family. Yes, that's where her grandfather came from, Lagos State. And so she grew up in England, but she just loves being associated with Nigerians. Unlike people like Kemi Badenoch that looks every bit a Nigerian, but is not proud of her heritage. At least that's what it appears to me like. Like she's not proud of her heritage. Now, you also have another guy they call Pablo. Pablo is affiliated to Nigeria through his marriage. He's married to a Yoruba woman, Anu, and they have a YouTube channel. I think it's called Pablo and Anu, but I don't know. I think that's what it's called. He persuaded his wife, that is a full Nigerian. She left when she was 16, just like Kemi. She left when she was 16. He persuaded her for them to come back to settle in Nigeria. And as we speak, they've been staying in Nigeria for a few months. This is someone that has no blood link to Nigeria, blood relationship, but due to affiliation, due to marriage, he told his wife, he persuaded his wife for them to come to Nigeria. She was a bit reluctant at first. You know how it is when you're in the diaspora, you hear things about what's going on, so you're not even in a hurry to come to Nigeria. So that's how she felt. But he made her come. But today, I'm going to talk about somebody that beats these two, as in when it comes to loyalty. She's known, but she's known for something else. But I just want to bring out an aspect of her life and let us know how devoted she was. She is and she was to Nigeria. So stick around and I'll be right back. I got that very sad message on the 31st of August. The day before, for some reason, I put up my social media or my internet, my data around like 6, 7. Sometimes I just feel like just meditating. I don't want to be on social media, so I'll just put up my data. So I put up my data. So I didn't have any connection to the internet. And the next morning, I wasn't in a hurry to check my phone. So when I checked my phone, it was around 12 or 11. That 11 in that morning, and I saw that message. In fact, till now, I've not been able to process it. I was numb. That's how I felt. This is because I met that lady. Yes, I met Mama Elton. Yes, Mama Ruth Elton. I met her. And I'll tell you how the circumstances in which I met her. But first of all, let me talk about her love and her concern for Nigeria. As we all know, for those that don't know, Mama Elton is the child of Pa Elton. Pa Sidney Elton. He was a missionary that came to Nigeria in 1937. And the time he came to Nigeria, he didn't even know. From the story I heard, he didn't even know that there was any country like there was any place like Elisha. But like he had a dream or he had a revelation or God just told him to come to Elisha, a place called Elisha. In fact, it took him some time because it's not like now when you just go on Google Maps or you just Google a name and you now know where somewhere is, the country it is, and all the exact location. It wasn't like that then, So they gave him several maps. People gave him several maps to check out where Elisha might be. Some people said he was in Nigeria. They gave him a map, but he didn't see Elisha. In fact, they gave him another map that was more detailed, and he now found Elisha. And he left all he had to do in the United Kingdom and relocated to Nigeria. And he was here for 50 years. He did a very good job. He propagated the gospel of Jesus Christ and he helped plant churches. He did quite a lot. Yes, he did quite a lot. And he came with his wife and he came with his child. That child is Mama Ruth Elton. So she's been in Nigeria for a while, she's been here for a while. I don't think she was born here. I think she was born there and they brought her here. Please confirm in the comments, please. So she came to Nigeria and at least she came as a child And since then, she's been so entrenched in the system of Nigeria. It's one thing when your parents are missionaries, but her parents have passed on. Even when her parents passed on, she stayed back. I know many people that one of their parents is Nigerian, one is from one other country, maybe Europe. They are so eager to get their second passport and leave Nigeria. So she had every right when her parents passed away to leave Nigeria, or even before then. She could have married someone from England, because then you had missionaries that would come to Nigeria, definitely. She would have met someone that and decided to leave Nigeria, but she stayed in Nigeria. And there's one other remarkable thing about that, Ma Elton. Yes, Ma Ruth Elton. She never married. She never married because she was so committed to building the legacy. She was so committed to building, to planting. She continued what her father was doing. She was planting churches. In fact, when I met her, she was talking about, in fact, when she saw me, the first thing she said was that, that there are some missionaries needed, there are people that are needed in several parts of Nigeria, that missionaries are needed. So she was kind of encouraging me to become a missionary. That was how passionate she was about reaching out to the unheard, telling them about the love of Jesus. That's how passionate she was. And she was in Nigeria for so many years, in fact. So let me now share the story. What made me, like now, I had no business with her. I'm from a different part of the country, but I can't go into all the details because there are some things I have to keep close to heart. There's a time for revealing things, but this is not the actual time. But I'll just give a bit of a background. I just knew I was supposed to go and see her. I just had this urgent need to see her. Yes, that period I was in Lagos. So after, when I left Lagos, I just decided, it was like, in fact, I didn't know where she was. I didn't have her phone number. I didn't have any contact with her, but I decided to visit her. It was that urgent. So long story short, I went through a lot of challenges. In fact, when I got to Ilesha, when I got to the park at Ilesha, that was in 2022. Yes, it was 2022, July. When I got to the park in Ilesha, I asked after her because, one, I know there are not many white people that are in Nigeria. Of course, when it comes to towns like Abuja, Lagos, there's a very vibrant diplomatic community. But when it comes to the hinterland, because of the security threats, you don't really have people that would want to go to places that are not in town. So when I got to Ilesha, I just asked after her. Like the first 2 or 3 people I've never heard of her. But like the third guy was like, oh, I know her. He was a young man. I think it was an Okada. He was riding an Okada. He was like, I know her. She's no longer here. She's in Lagos. She has gone to Lagos. She's no longer here. So, but something just told me, you came all the way, and you didn't just come like that. You came all the way. You knew there was something that led you here. So why would you just take? Because the next thing would have been to just turn back from there and find your way back to Lagos. Because I went there from Lagos and I could have gone back that same day. It's far, but it's not so far from Lagos. So, but I just said I came all the way, so I might as well just follow this thing through. So long story short, I now saw somebody else. I said, oh, I know where their church is, that there's a church. So I now went to the church. When I got there, I met some people. They were doing prayers. In fact, the church was empty till about 5 p.m. I got there like maybe 1 or 2. So was it up to 1 or 2? But I just knew that I had to wait. And for some reason, I didn't have my phone number. I didn't have my phone. I didn't have a phone number. I didn't even have my phone with me. That's a story for another day. There are some things that I'm not comfortable about talking about now, right now, in time. Maybe one day there'll be an opportunity for me to talk about exactly what made me go visit her. So I didn't carry my phone. There was no way to call the people because somebody was in the church that I think was like a caretaker, and she was like, nobody comes here till like 5 p.m. They're going to have a fellowship. So I waited till 5 p.m. I had to wait till after the fellowship. Of course, I couldn't disturb them. So it was quite late, and they told me that someone now gave me their phone and now called her. When I called, not her, of course, I called her helper, picked up because she's quite elderly now. Yes, she was like in her late 80s then. She's quite elderly. She was quite elderly then. So I now called and they said, okay, but you can't come today. And you cannot sleep in the mission house because we've allowed people come to sleep in the mission house, and we had some unpleasant experiences. So we no longer allow people to. So at the end of the day, long story short, I got somewhere to sleep, and the very next day I went there and I saw her. I don't know how to describe it. I was so grateful to her for so many reasons. Many people give up on Nigeria. Many people feel that Nigeria is not good enough. Many people don't, even if they're in Nigeria, they want to take the best. For example, she could have stayed in a place like Lagos or Abuja, like in Maitama or in VI, Ikoyi, or in luxury places. But she just decided to go to Ilesha and stay. And she really was a blessing, because when I read about her history, she's been going around to so many countries and so many places, small towns, but she eventually came back to Ilesha, where her father was called to be. That's where I saw her, and I believe that's where she passed away. So when I saw her, I was so happy. I was so grateful. She didn't really, she's quite elderly, so she's not as vibrant as she was, but she had an idea what I was there to do, and it was a very rewarding visit. And when I saw her, she gave me this, or her helper gave me this book. She wrote this book. I hope you can see this. She wrote this book, and she wrote this book. Now, the first book is The Kingdom Has Come. The Kingdom Has Come. And the second book is Your Citizenship. So her helper gave it to me, and I was grateful, but I did not know how this book was really needed, how I needed to read this book. And as I say, that's a story for another day. I'm not ready to share some things now, but these books have been so pivotal, and it has further strengthened my belief in Nigeria. There's something special about Nigeria. For those people that don't believe in Nigeria, I don't blame them. There's a lot of reason not to believe in Nigeria, but I've had so many experiences and circumstances that make me realize, that makes me have faith in the new Nigeria that we're all looking forward to. But it's not going to come easy. It's going to come through, when something good wants to come, like a woman, you want to give birth to a child, you go through some pain. So it's going to come through some pain. It's going to come through some sacrifice. And by God's special grace, whatever it takes to do I'll do whatever it takes to bring Nigeria to where she's supposed to be. And we all have a part to play. But I just want to say that there are some Nigerians on this day, on this Independence Day. I just want to say there are some Nigerians that are more Nigerian than you and I. They are loyal, they are patriotic, they've given their all. And we can't just dump the Nigerian project. People have given up everything. For example, Mama Ruth Elton never got married. She never had children, even though she had some children that were not biological, but they were so, when I got there to Lesha, a lady I met the lady that sent me that message that I showed earlier, she was telling me about how Mama Elton adopted one Nigerian boy then. No, I don't know. I don't think it was a formal adoption. I don't know the exact story, but she somehow made that. There was this motherly affection she had for that boy, and he was old enough. He was like 50, but he passed away before she passed away. When I heard about it, by the time I went to Elisha, he had passed away. So have you come across some people that they may not have our skin color, they may not even be black, they may not even be Nigerian, but they are more dedicated to Nigeria than the Nigerians we see. The Nigerians are so quickly, they condemn Nigerians so quickly, they give up on Nigeria. But there are people that believe in Nigeria. There are people that have been in Nigeria. People like Mama Elton. She lived most of her life in Nigeria, and she transited in Nigeria, and so she's more Nigerian than you and I and most people. So if you know anybody that loves Nigeria, and even though they're not Nigerian, or are you someone from another country but you love Nigeria, you are now staying in Nigeria, you want the best for Nigerians, let's continue the conversation in comments. So till I see you in the next video where I talk about something that will be uplifting, let's go on being the best